Hey, it's Heba. So last time I was going to do something in a reading and I didn't get the chance to. I didn't feel called to, so I'm going to do it in this reading. And it involves using these coffee beans. They're little crystals. They're little bits of nature that I found. So we're going to use those just because I want to show you how I use them. This reading, I want it to be about if there's a difficult situation or something that's a little bit on your mind, a little bit troubling you, how's it going to work out? What's it looking like? What good can come from it? How can you impact it in a positive way? Let's start with our Scrabble letters. This is a little bit extra confirmation if you want to know, is this reading for you? This could relate to a word that is important to you, your name, the name of someone else that you care about. Of SYKI. Also, I'll pull out some numbers. This could be an age, it could be a date, or just some special numbers that are you've been seeing or that you really like. I have 3 and I have 6. 3 and 6. I have 2 versions of this deck. This is called the Shadowscapes Tarot. It's kind of funny. I've had 2 of them come into my life, and I haven't bought either one of them. They've just arrived. One of them is missing, I think, 1 card, and I don't know which deck it is, but I feel like the cards that meant to come out anyway, so I'm not too fussed about it. What would spirit say to you about a difficult situation in your life? How you can help the situation? What's important for you to know? And how can you serve your highest in the best possible way? Let's see. I have the King of Cups. I have the Seven of Swords, the Five of Swords. No, the Five of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, the Hangman, the Ace of Swords, the Five of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. Hmm. Well, everything's gonna be okay. The vibes are there's some difficulty, the world but everything's gonna be okay. Both of your ending cards are the Nine of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups, which is really beautiful. I'm really feeling a lot of energy off of this little part of the deck, so I'm gonna hang on to that. I'd say these top 3 cards, maybe 4 are really calling to me. Alright, I'll put the 4th one there too. Let's see here. I'd say if you haven't already, go ahead and do it. Call to yourself a helper. So this could be a spirit guide. It could be if you have a certain god or goddess figure that you connect with really well, a spirit guide or an angel, or just like a vibe that really feels calming to you. Go ahead and call upon that vibe. If there's someone in your physical life that is often very helpful to you, gives you advice, listens to you, is very kind and open, I would say call upon that person, King of Cups. Because this situation calls for a shifting of perspective. There's an acknowledgement that there's tricky energy, there's some unpleasant energy, there's things that are confusing or energy that's just, like, not the best. There's an acknowledgement of that. We have the 7 of Swords and we have the 5 of Swords, okay? It's always nice when a reading is acknowledging, like, "It's okay. Things are tricky or difficult." That's true, it's not in your head, and this is a time when we open up to spirit, to God, to an advisor that is very giving and serves us well, and we allow ourselves to shift perspective. The Hanged Man. So perhaps we're letting go of some old ideas of who we are and who other people are in our lives. Perhaps you've been called to let go of some things that you've held dear, concepts, beliefs, physical things, people, and it's almost like there has been no other option. You've had to kind of lock in into your spirit, into your soul, and let go of that which needs to be let go of. Okay, I really like this next part here, okay? It's the 7 of Swords with the Ace of Swords. That is lovely. 7 of Swords in this spread, because cards appear differently and feel differently in different readings. In this one, it's a very kind of icky energy. It's people kind of only looking out for themselves. It's people being afraid, too afraid to be honest, too afraid to come forward. There's a sense of somebody maybe even hiding their true self or hiding their truth because that's what works for them at that time. So to the face that they might greet you with might be a face you don't necessarily like. That's because they're hiding something or that they feel like they have to hide right now or they have to protect themselves in some kind of way. So yeah, that might not feel great. Maybe you are even the one doing this who maybe you feel like you have to hide. You can't be your most true self right now just because of certain circumstances. But out of this very icky energy, and it's like it's icky for a reason, okay? But the reasons aren't always relevant to you. You don't always have to know what those reasons are. The energy's icky, the energy's murky. But out of that finally comes the Ace of Swords. And we even see here the I believe it's a swan. Yeah, swan on top here with the sword at the very top of this card. Very similar to this card, right? So we see out of this icky, dark, mucky energy, truth does come forward. Clarity does come forward. Like the foggy, murky waters finally become clear. There's a really lovely saying that I like. It might be biblical, I'm not sure. It might relate to Jesus, but there's something about a calm coming upon the waters. That's one of my all-time favorite sayings because sometimes life feels so turbulent or icky or confusing or weird, and the idea of calm coming upon those waters, and it's clear and you can see all the way to the bottom, and what felt like it was gonna, you know, take you and throw you downstream is now calm, and you can see things clearly, and it's not so scary and overwhelming. I like that here. It's out of this murkiness, out of this confusion, out of this feeling of fear or non-safety is clarity, a feeling of aha, finally coming out of this darkness, coming out of this difficult time. Okay, and it doesn't mean that the all of the difficulty is gone. It doesn't mean that it's completely solved, but it means that there's a turning point for the better. We still see a little bit of this wild energy in the 5 of Wands here. Still kind of trying to find your place, you or someone else trying to find their place, trying to find peace, but it's not so murky anymore. It's a little bit more positive. It's a little bit more breath driven and soul driven. They're the 5 of Cups underneath it. So there's a sense of sadness. Let's look at what this sadness is. I'm going to pull this card. The 3 of Pentacles. Let's look at these three. We have the Magician, Temperance, and the 9 of Cups. All right, let me get my tiny deck. Tell me about this 5 of Cups. We have the Tower that just kind of showed its face. Okay, there's a sense of having thought things would come out one way, but they didn't turn out that way. That's been a theme that's been coming up in a lot of readings. Maybe that's why it's so important to shift perspective. We have the 8 of Swords. Sad. There's a sadness here. It makes me want to have compassion, compassion for the situation, compassion for you, compassion for whoever's going through this. It's not that they're doing it on purpose. It's because there's a sadness and there's kind of like not knowing exactly how to move forward all the time. And it's like they want some help or they want some support. Or in the past they wanted help or support. There was conflict. 5 of Swords. It's a lot of things thinking they're gonna go one way, but then they don't go that way, and then you're like, "Oh god goodness, what have I gotten myself into now?" So maybe some cycles of difficulty, of kind of coming out and then going back under and coming out and going back under. There's a sense of sadness there. So let's see, let's pull some cards on that. Page of Cups, 7 of Wands, right. Knight of Wands. Let's do one more, please. Thank you. 8 of Cups. Okay, you see how there keeps being this push-pull, there keeps being advancement forward, then a little step back, advancement forward, little step back. But it's all around trajectory upward, trajectory better. Okay. And it's almost like I'm talking about somebody in your life or the situation that's in your life. There is hope. And then sometimes there's a sense of slight ickiness. And then there's advancement and fun or excitement and maybe a little bit of a reroute. But it's all around getting better. It's just going through certain cycles. Let's take a closer look at this Knight of Wands and Eight of Cups. In the Knight of Wands, we see the knight facing toward us. We see a sense of progression, a sense of openness. And then in the Eight of Cups, we see the figure has turned around and is moving away. So both are indicative of movement. What I'm getting is there's a final sense of understanding. Perhaps a lot of the delays that happened before were because this person or this situation or these people, the energy was that things are going to work out this certain kind of way. The path is going to look like this. And the path kept changing. The situation kept changing. Things kept not quite working out in that way. It's like there would be speed bumps, internal or external speed bumps along the way and continual rerouting. And there's this kind of final exhale that says, okay, I understand they don't have to work out the way that I originally thought they would. There's a better way, there's a more true way. There's a path forward that maybe I have to kind of turn my back on some old things that I thought had to be in my life, old beliefs, old people, and I have to move in a new direction. I have to move toward the light. It's a final understanding of there is a path, it's just the path might look different than what someone originally thought the path looked like. Yes. A lot of affirmation on that. We have the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Fool, and we have the Three of Cups that fell kind of in this end area we'll talk about shortly. I absolutely love this energy after all of what we've seen. Kind of a forced shift of perspective, kind of a forced shift of path even. And by force, I just mean sometimes you can't fight against how flow is flowing in your life, and you can't fight against your highest good. Meaning if you've asked for something and it's up here and there's a certain version of you that's living that, you will be compelled to move in the direction of best. And if you in your mind think that best is that way, but your spirit knows best is this way, right? You'll continually be rerouted. So that's that forced. It's not really forced, but it's kind of like, "Oh, okay, this it doesn't work over here. It doesn't work. I've seen that it doesn't work in this direction. So now, okay, I'm willing to move in the direction that spirit is showing me." And we see that there's a final sense of calm and willingness and enjoyment in moving along this new path. Okay, finally moving along the path that spirit has laid out rather than what was kind of fabricated to be the path. The Eight of Pentacles I love in this reading because it's this figure on this card is working on something, right? Diligently working, learning, practicing. Sometimes you can only tap into this energy when you feel calm and safe where you are. Then you can settle in, you can nestle in to work on something that you really care about and give it the care and attention that it needs. So it's indicative of getting to a place or this situation getting to a place where there is calm and there is stability. There's an ability to work on something and give it care and attention at long last, right? We have the Fool, we have a new beginning. This is a new beginning where what's unnecessary is gone, past beliefs, past expectations that were not helpful. And now it's kind of an openness and an acceptance of where someone is or where a situation is. And it's now moving with flow, it's now moving with divine spirit. Let's move to the very end of the reading here, okay? Nine of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. Then we got some clarification cards. We got the Magician, Temperance, Nine of Cups. All positive cards here. Before we were seeing a lot of up and down, up and down, up and down. Now it's just a lot smoother. I do want some clarification on the Nine of Pentacles. Go back to this one. The Tower showed its face again. Well, the heck? Okay. So the Tower showed its face, and we have the Two of Swords over the Nine of Pentacles. but also we have the 3 of Cups. Hmm. What I get is that it's not that everything is perfect and everything is hunky dory, but there's a sense of acceptance of difficulty, meaning sometimes the worst thing that can happen in a situation is denial of truth or acceptance because it sometimes propels us into some bad habits to deny something in our lives. And if we stop denying and we accept it, we can kind of integrate it in, we can take care of it. Kind of like if someone has an injury, if they deny that injury, right? They're not going to give it the care that it needs to heal or to be supported by the rest of the body. But if they say, okay, yes, I have this injury, it sucks, but here it is. Well, then there's a sense of I feel it, it's maybe uncomfortable, it's here, but I can support and tend to its healing by just acknowledging it and taking care around it. Just an example of kind of the energy I'm seeing, meaning, yes, there's maybe parts of me that are closed off. Maybe there's parts of me that will lean into the dark sometimes, right? But I'm acknowledging those parts and not letting them go into the ether on their own. I'm not letting them exist in their own space. I'm shining light around them. I'm acknowledging them, and so that I can still live out my best life. I can still do the things that I love. I can still express myself in a way that feels good to me. Still value myself and what I have to offer, even if there's parts that are dark or difficult or closed off. In terms of the reading, you could be dealing with a person or people or a situation where there's an aspect that's not the most wonderful, but it's there and it's okay. Maybe sometimes it's a problem and sometimes it's not. At long last, there's not a denial of it. There's a sense of working with all aspects in a more constructive way. And more importantly, celebrating the parts that have been neglected because of this kind of non-acceptance that happened before. Have an ability to share the good, share the positive aspects, celebrate those positive aspects. They don't have to hide just because there's some less wonderful aspects. It's okay. It's like nothing is perfect. There's an acknowledgement of that, and it helps to continue the situation moving forward and moving in a positive direction. This is really beautiful. You have the 10 of Cups, right? And that's the end of the cup suit. So we see a joining of light and shadow, perhaps. It's a joining at long last of the parts that no longer have to be neglected, good, bad, or ugly. Everything can be integrated under the light of awareness and the light of divine spirit. And this is when breakthroughs happen. This is when wonderful things can finally come through because there's not a bunch of junk in the way. So that we see that here with the magician. So those beautiful manifestations finally coming through, there's an ability to make the impact that you've wanted to make. The situation in general kind of gives way to something being able to have a positive impact. We see an integration again, temperance, big time integration, right? It's the right formulation of things, of light and shadow. Together, there's a unification, there's a communion that happens that feels good, feels right, and allows for things to work properly and to work well. Nine of Cups, so a wish coming true. Eventually, what you wanted happens in the situation. It might not be the way that you thought. It might not be the way anybody thought in the situation, but eventually the highest outcome does come forward. It's the best for everybody. We see here that you change in how you see things. You change your perspective in a very helpful way. You understand that there are people or guides that you can rely on, open up to, and have faith in, and that help support you in this change of perspective. And that, yes, sometimes there's cycles of ickiness, but with every ickiness comes a little bit of a breakthrough, a little bit of clarity, a little bit of ease that eventually gives way to something really wonderful, which is true integration, true communion and acknowledgement and acceptance of light and shadow. And that creates such a beautiful power and force in your life and the life of other people maybe involved in this situation so that you can make wishes and dreams come true. You can bring forward something that really means something to you because of what was learned throughout this process, because of how you changed throughout this process, and then how the situation has also changed. Overall, very positive. The breakthrough will come. This isn't for nothing, okay? It's for the learning of the people that are involved, for transcending, for attaining that wisdom that you so seek in your life to really be the person that you wanna be, and takes you through some weird things sometimes and unexpected things, and it's okay, it's all leading you toward where you wanna go and the person that you wanna become and the understanding and wisdom that you wanna reach in your current lifetime. All is well. All is turning out okay. When you feel upset, turn to something that makes you feel warm, whether that's just a feeling inside of you, the light inside of you, any kind of deity that you enjoy connecting with, or some kind of spiritual person or a therapist in your life that can listen to you and just uplift you a little bit, okay? It is about a change of perspective. Things will work out as they work out. It seems like most of the situation isn't about you, it's about something else happening that has to go through its cycles to understand itself. And for you, the most important thing is that shift of perspective, allowing things to work out for the highest, and they will. I did want to do, before I forget, what I wanted to show you. Okay. What I do is I just kind of wiggle these around and then I just go, and then I look to see what fell where. We have this fairly large stone, it's in the shape of a heart. That fell right here, okay? That fell right where the 5 of cups, 3 of pentacles. So we see maybe this is an important part of the reading. We see also a lot of the coffee beans sprinkled right here, okay? So we see that potentially where you are right now in terms of this reading or in terms of your life in this reading, we are moving toward the latter half of the reading. Meaning you're coming out to the very end of these, like, repeating cycles of up and down, okay? And into this integrated energy and into this ability to create what you want. We have a lot of coffee beans around temperance, around the magician, okay? That's that integrated energy. That's that ability to create what you want in the world without kind of the interruptions that were happening before. I like that the heart is right between the 3 of Pentacles and the 5 of Cups because here we acknowledge there was some kind of sadness, some kind of loss that was part of maybe what the interruption was. The 3 of Pentacles makes me think that that is being healed. There's a little bridge that's healing the expectations from the past, the hurt from the past into a healed state. Maybe there was support that fell through in the past or didn't meet expectations, but now all support is acknowledged, loved, there's gratitude, and that support is actually really helpful. So we're definitely moving forward. This definitely makes me feel like we're here in the current timeline when you're watching this. You are moving toward the latter half of this issue, okay? You a lot of it is now gone and you're moving into kind of the second ending phase where these cycles are starting to die out. The lesson is starting to be integrated and the movement forward is really starting to come forward. I do notice that the 9 of Cups is over here by itself, doesn't have any coffee beans on it, which makes me feel like this whole thing might have been in response to a wish that you had, and the wish couldn't come true without this playing itself out. You needed to change that perspective. Maybe other people in your life needed to make a change. Maybe the energy in your life needed to change itself in order to make a certain wish come true. Perhaps you were asking for something, and the way to get to that something is to have this transpire. So it might have been icky, might have been difficult, might still be icky and difficult, but it is going to give way. And you'll see further on why it played out this way and how it is in response to a very beautiful wish that you had that is now able to come true. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.